The Death of WCW is my favorite book ever. WrestleCrap, The Very Worst of Pro Wrestling, is a great book.
Excellent.
But WrestleCrap Book of Lists, it's perverted, immature,
Check.
biased.
Check. We're biased against stupidity in wrestling, yes.
And just a waste of time.
Well, that's probably a little harsh. Current wrestling news time, kids. WrestleMania, not good.
Skank Battle Royal. You can't tell the boobs apart without a scorecard.
Speaking of disposing of something like a dirty whore.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Yes, believe it or not, kids, this radio program you're listening to right now is sponsored. Sponsored by our good friends at RickySteamboat'sChiropractor.com. I've got a fantastic idea. We get Dave on the show. In the role of Ricky Steamboat's chiropractor. Do you think anybody would notice that it was Dave?
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
That's a hell of a guess, kid.com. Proud sponsors of WrestleCrap Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is your Action News reporter with all the news that is news across the nation on the scene at the supermarket. There seems to have been some disturbance here. Pardon me, sir. Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I did. I was standing over there by the tomatoes, and here he comes.
You wouldn't think that AngryMarks.com would have anything to do with the trip to the grocery. But you'd be mistaken.
I guess I am.
What a trip to the grocery we're going to have this week, and it's all courtesy of our friends at AngryMarks.com. A few days before WrestleMania, I get this giant package delivered to the doorstep of WrestleCrap HQ.
Angry Marks packed up Lex Luger and sent him to your house for WrestleMania. This could be a record for most.
Crickets are loving you this week, man. Here's the package I got right here. It's got all kinds of goodies in here.
Yeah.
We have a Build and Brawl Bobby Lashley figure. SummerSlam's Greatest Hits. I wish you could see the back of this. 1992, this particular video came out.
Oh, boy, I bet you it's got Liz in those granny panties.
It does have Liz in the granny panties on the back. And
I am jealous.
And then we have a Candice Michelle figure. Now you're thinking, well, RD, this is all well and good. That's fantastic that they sent you all this stuff. What does this have to do with the trip to the grocery? Well, they sent me something for me to snack on.
Late night. Tacos at midnight.
As opposed to Doritos late night, tacos at 2 in the afternoon.
You know, the only midnight taco in a strip club, $1 bill near the... I'm disappointed.
Aren't very good. Obscure wrestling news time, kids. Wrestlicious demo. Wow. This looks exactly like Glow.
Which is a great thing.
Every women's match should have pink ropes. Oh, there's Jimmy Hart.
A $25 gift. I've been there.
Well, RJ, I'm doing pretty good this week. I'm glad to be back here on the airwaves with you and Brad. This should be a fantastic show. This
Brad Rangan's called in sick this week. Blade Braxton is here in his place.
Well, I don't want to get sidetracked. Apparently, there have been some people that I've heard rumors of this. I don't know if it was something that was true or not, but apparently there have been people, listeners to this fine radio station, that have said sometimes I get a little off track, a little off the beaten path. And this week I am going to concentrate and talk about TNA. Got a lot to talk about this week. I was very excited watching TNA this week because glad to see a fella that I had interviewed years back during his heyday. Danny Partridge apparently is going to be at the next big event, and I think that'll be really something else. I think that'll play well with the wrestling audience. I know that years ago, whenever I interviewed Danny, and of course his whole family, he wasn't just by himself. I don't know if you had heard of this. I mean, Danny Partridge was one of the Partridge family. All kinds of brothers and sisters, and it was something else. They had a great gig going, and that was just a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned. Of course, the Partridge family had a television show that I'm sure everybody's aware of and could probably recite the episodes by heart. Of course, wasn't that long ago. It's hard to believe it's not still on the air. Mike, not to interrupt or anything, I do believe the Partridge family has been off the air for about 35 years. Wow, has it been that long? Just seemed like it was yesterday, and not sure if I've ever mentioned it. I actually had a tie-in to the Partridge family. Not sure if I've ever talked about this on the show here, but have I ever mentioned working the El Paso market at KSII, the KISS?
Oh, I'm not sure. RD, has he?
Yes, you've told this story. You were Pecos Bill. Yeah, that's right. I was pretty famous around those parts, so it's not surprising you had heard of my stint there. But something most people probably do not know is I actually had worked there years earlier, before I was Pecos Bill. The format of the station was actually not dropping stacks of wax, but we would do radio versions of broadcast television shows, and I, of course, had experience doing that type of work, because back in the day, dating back to my younger days, I was actually on the radio version of the Partridge Family show. I was, of course, Reuben Kincaid. He was the manager of the Partridge Family, the group.
That sounds incredibly thrilling. I hope you don't tell us more about it.
Well, I had actually done several. That led to a lot of different gigs over the years. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but a lot of radio stations, that was the format that they had taken up, as they would do these radio versions of television shows. And
did you just say that was the floor mat they had taken up?
The format. That's a little radio jargon, a little radio lingo. I know you hear a greenhorn, you probably don't understand.
Because honestly, there's nothing more metaphorically I'd like to do than wipe a shoe on your Partridge Family radio show.
can't say I particularly appreciate your comments there. Maybe you will appreciate more the fact that I did do another radio version of a television show. This was many years later at WEBN out of Cincinnati. They were doing the same format, and they had asked for me to be on the show on their radio station, doing the radio version of a show called Mr. Belvedere.
Wait a minute. Time out. The callers of the station were WEBN. Would that mean that the name of the station would have been the Spider?
Very good. That's what we called it, the Spider. Spider 103 is what we called it. You'd obviously heard of it. Did you ever hear whenever I was Mr. Belvedere on that particular station?
Because
I was not only was I on that particular station on the show Mr. Belvedere, I was in fact the title character, the lead character. I portrayed Mr. Belvedere on that show.
Ah, so you have experience in portraying gay butlers.
Yes, I do. Sadly, my stint as Mr. Belvedere did not last, as they felt my English accent wasn't quite up to snuff. I didn't really understand why people felt that way. I thought I did the impersonation really quite well.
Well, let me a little bit of advice. If you tried to redo a half-an-hour episode of Mr. Belvedere, as slow as you talk, it would have been a 50-minute episode.
Thought I did that impersonation quite well. It's something that's kind of rubbed me the wrong way that I lost that gig years ago. Could I try out my Mr. Belvedere impersonation on you and see what you guys think of it? And I think you'll agree that I was perfect in the role of Mr. Belvedere.
What if we said no?
All right. Well, here's Mike Check is Mr. Belvedere. Ahem. Core blimey, Wesley. Why aren't you eating your fish and chips? Well, what'd you think of that impersonation there? That was pretty awful. I gotta admit.
Pretty brutal.
Well, I thought it was pretty good, but I did lose that gig. Apparently, they gave it to some guy I'd never heard of. His name was Heineken or something. I'm not familiar with who he is. I don't know if he has any radio broadcast experience.
That sounds like a very entertaining man's name.
Mike, what does this have to do with TNA? Well, I'm sorry. I was just talking about, doing these radio shows, and seeing Danny Partridge had brought back my happy memories of my days as Reuben Kincaid. And I'll never forget when I was Reuben Kincaid on that show, and I got to introduce this song on the show. That's right. It's not only Danny Partridge, it's the whole family. I think I love you here on the Whacker. I think I love you.
What was that?
I have no idea.
Did Crank Orange just die?